Hello friends, my name is Penelope Van Dyke and I'm an independent gallery guide in the Fargo-Moorhead area. Lake Agassiz Regional Library asked me to share in their summer reading program. I have two different painting activities for you, painting your own rock and mini canvas. You will want to take a walk and look for a rock that is between 1 and 3 inches in diameter. If it is in someone else's yard, please ask for permission to have it. You'll want to wash your rock and dry it completely. You may want to do this the day before you paint. Your painting kit will include a blue or white apron, a mini canvas, 9 colors of paint, and 2 brushes, a flat and a round tipped. You'll also want to have a disposable tablecloth or newspapers to cover your work surface, a paper plate or a plastic lid to mix colors on, paper towel to wipe your brushes off, and a cup of water to rinse your brushes. Now I'm going to show you how to dip your brush in your paint and rinse off your brush. When you dip your brush, you only want to do about half of your bristles. And then when you clean your brush off, you want to swish it in your cup quickly, but you don't want to push your bristles down in the bottom of your cup or you will ruin your bristles. When you're drying it off, you want to dry it off gently. If it comes out clean, you're good to go. If not, repeat the process. Before we start painting, here's a little bit about rocks. Earth is made of rocks. They can be small enough to fit in your hand or as big as a house. Rocks have different colors and textures. You know a rock when you see one, but can you identify the 3 basic groups of rocks? Earth is a giant rock-making machine. Rocks form, break apart, and then form again. Sedimentary rocks begin as sediment at the bottom of rivers, lakes, and oceans. Sediment is made of small pieces of sand, clay, and shells. The weight of water presses down on the sediment until it becomes hard. Examples of sedimentary rocks are limestone, conglomerate, sandstone. Igneous rocks are created by heat. They start off as magma, which is hot, melted rock deep within a volcano. When magma cools and hardens, igneous rock forms. Igneous rock also forms when lava cools. Lava is magma that erupts from a volcano. Examples are diorite and obsidian. Metamorphic rocks start as igneous and sedimentary rocks. Heat and heavy pressure cause the rock to undergo a metamorphosis or a change. The new rock often has a different color. Examples of metamorphic rocks are eclogite, marble, and slate. Now you know a little about the 3 rock groups. Now I'm going to show you how to paint your own rock. I took an example out of the Scribble Stones Art Guide by Diane Alber, but you can go on the internet and find examples. I'm going to show you how to do a ladybug, but if you want to do something else, you're welcome to. I'm going to take my flat brush and I'm going to only open the colors of paint that I'm going to use. And I'm going to paint the back half of my ladybug red, and I'm going to put a curve in the front. And you can choose to paint the entire rock if you want, or you can just paint the top half and just make sure you have the sides good. You might get paint on your fingers, and that's okay. It washes off your hands really well. Rinse my brush off, swish it quickly. Test it on my paper towel. Okay, now I'm going to do the front of my ladybug in black. If I overlap the red a little bit, that's okay. Okay, and then I'm going to let that dry a little bit. And then I'm going to take my flat brush still and make a line down the back. And then at the very back of it, I'm going to curve it towards the left. And I'm going to do the line again and follow it and curve it towards the right. And that will make the wings of my ladybug. Depending on how hard you push with your brush, the thicker your line will be. Okay, now I'm going to switch brushes and use the round tipped brush. And we just want to put a little paint on at a time. And my black isn't quite dry in the front, so I'm going to let that dry a little bit more. And I'm going to do my black circles on my ladybug's back. You're going to make a C and a backwards C and connect them. And that's how you make your circle. I'm going to rinse my brush off. Test it on my paper towel. And then I'm going to dip into my white. And I'm going to do a C and a backwards C and fill it in. C and a backwards C and fill it in. Oops. You can let this dry completely before you put it on too. And then for the black little dot inside the eye, just barely dip your round tipped brush into your paint and just barely touch. There. And you have your ladybug. Now for a second example of a rock, I'm going to show you how to do a hedgehog. For this one, you're going to need to mix tan. So we will take some white with our flat-tipped brush and put it on our paper plate or our plastic lid, whatever you. Then you're going to rinse your brush off good. And then grab some brown. And then we're going to mix the two together. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do my back of my hedgehog. And dip into the dark brown. And I'm going to kind of make a curve the same as I did the ladybug. For the front. Whoops. And then cover the whole back with the dark brown or the plain brown. Okay. Excuse me. Rinse off your brush. Always hold your cup when you're rinsing so you don't tip your brush or tip your cup of water over. All right, then we're going to take our tan that we mixed and we're going to cover up his face. Okay, and then we'll let that dry just a couple minutes. Rinse our brush off. Again, I only opened the colors that I needed to use for this project. Okay, I'm going to give him a nose, dip into my brown, do a C and a backward C. Rinse my brush off. Okay, and give him some eyes. Round tipped brush again and dip into the black and make a little C and a backward C, a little C and a backward C. And then for the V's on his back, you're just gonna do little lines. And the harder you press, the thicker your line will be. Okay, there you have your hedgehog. The story I have for you today is called Scribble Stones, and it's written and illustrated by Diane Alber. This story is about one happy stone who was gray and round and rarely alone. He lived with the others all stacked in a pile and waited calmly with a large friendly smile. Each stone had a purpose, but it wasn't known yet. Some would be landscaping and some a stone pet. There were so many things that the stones could be. The hardest part was just waiting to see. Stone knew that his purpose would brighten someone's day. He just wasn't sure how or in what kind of way. He imagined the things that he might soon become, and as he watched all the stones get picked one by one. But his happy face slowly turned to a frown as he watched the tall piles start to dwindle on down, and although he was worried, he tried not to care until it was clear he was the last one there. Then it finally happened. Stone was quickly picked up. He was placed on a desk next to a very large cup. As Stone looked around, he thought, "This is so great!" But he soon discovered he was a dull paperweight. "I'm supposed to bring happiness, not hold paper still. There must be a mistake. This just can't be my skill." Then all of a sudden a splatter flew high, and then some bright scribbles came wiggling by. They were headed right toward the short paper stack, and they filled up the paper on the front and the back. They were all making art. It was happening so fast, Stone feared that the paper would simply not last. He couldn't believe just how much the pile grew. Then he heard a small cry from the Fun Splatter crew. "We knew that this pile was getting too tall. There is no more paper. We have used it all." The scribbles all cried. They now saw it too. "This is a disaster. Oh, what will we do?" Stone didn't want the scribbles to cry, so he thought of something that they all could try. He slowly rolled down the very large pile and said, "I know how to make you all smile. I know I'm not paper, but I like art too. Do you think you could spare some red, yellow, and blue?" They loved the idea and could not wait to start. Scribble began making a happiness heart. Splatter then painted some pale baby blue. Another scribble added a sunny gold hue. It didn't take long before more stones showed up, and soon the line grew behind the large red cup. To Stone's surprise, he was picked up once more. He had never heard of this happening before. More art was added, and he was on his way to become a small gift to brighten someone's day. Nearby, another Stone's journey had begun. He was spreading such happiness and having great fun. Every time he traveled, someone added their part, sometimes just a scribble, sometimes fancy art. With each new layer, there was a story to share, and soon scribbled stones were seen everywhere. They traveled the planet. It was quite an event, bringing happiness and fun wherever they went. Now thousands of stones inspire creativity each day, all because of a paperweight with a will and a way. I want to thank you for painting with me today, and I hope you have a great rest of your summer.